Hello, everyone, and welcome to our webinar. Our topic today is AI agents versus bots, breaking the mold. And we are here today to explore how AI agents are reshaping the landscape of businesses and technologies. And also, we are going to find out the advantages of AI models, I would say the new versions of AI agents, and to see compare them to our traditional chatbots that we have. My name is Tanya, and I will be our host today. Here with me on the call, we have our brilliant experts, Eduardo, a salesperson and a product specialist with a deep expertise in the practical applications of AI. Hello, Eduardo. And
Hi, it's
Stas,
nice to meet you.
our architect, specializing in designing systems that integrate advanced AI capabilities. Hello, Stas, and welcome.
Hello, everybody.
Good. So before we go into the specific and details, let's start with a brief introduction to set the stage for our discussion. Eduardo, could you briefly explain how actually AI agents differ from traditional chatbots?
Sure, I'd be happy to. There are a number of differences, but I suppose if we think about, let's call them traditional chatbots, those chatbots are essentially a quite a simplistic rule-based system. So they have limited kind of predefined response and paths that you can go through, whereas agentic AI or AI agents, they have a lot more autonomy and kind of adaptive problem solving. Let's think of it like that. So it's of interest to people really because of all the benefits that the agentic systems, the neurotypes have. Rather than just responding to simple queries, they can actively interpret context and they can help look for solutions and take some meaningful actions. So I suppose in a nutshell, that's the main differences, I would say.
Okay, interesting. Thank you so much. Stas, and from your technical perspective as an architect, why is this distinction significant in designing AI systems?
Yeah, so to understand the evolution of AI systems, we need to distinguish between traditional chatbots and compound systems with LLMs and AI agents. That's actually Eduardo just said. Initially, chatbots built on LLMs were basic interfaces trained to query static data sets, focusing on fast response, but offering limited contextual awareness and understanding. Architecturally, they relied on linear flows with pattern matching hard-coded intents. Then they were a bit advanced with task-specific systems, also known as a compound systems, with some control logic for programmatic tasks, allowing for more complex workflows other than just the chatbots. And the real breakthrough, actually, how we're breaking the mold, came with AI agents, systems that can create an execution plan on the fly, simply a new workflow, reason it, check it, check if the plan is valid, and then execute tasks using available tools, APIs, data sources. So completely autonomously without control logic in place made by architects, devs, or other guys. So unlike traditional systems, there are no predefined scenarios for AI agents, and the agent decides and executes steps dynamically.
Oh, that looks like a new level. That's very interesting. So we are going to go deep into this subject and discover more here. Our listeners, I would like to ask you if you have any questions, please use the field here in the YouTube to ask any questions. We would be happy to answer them later. Now let's move to our other questions. So Stas, I have some another question to you. What role does architecture play in enabling AI agents to work collaboratively across complex workflows? Tell us about this.
Yeah, so of course, architecture plays a crucially and significant role in enabling AI agents, actually, in everything. At its core, a well-designed architecture acts as a backbone that facilitates interoperability between diverse systems, technologies, modules. So you need to think carefully to be able to design the architecture which will allow your AI, actually not just AI, but the AI agent to work collaboratively across complex workflows. One of the key elements is the use of modular architecture, like let it be microservices, for instance, or enabling AI agents to specialize in specific tasks while still communicating effectively with other components, modules, yes, and this modularity ensures that workflows can be distributed across these multiple services. You can even have micro agents, and to enable really efficient communication between the components. Architectures often incorporate messaging systems, some brokers, or are built with event-driven architecture style. This enables real-time communication without interruptions or bottlenecks. And one of the examples, and one agent complete a task. Yeah, it can trigger an event that signals to another agent or agents to begin their part of the workflow. Of course, should be mentioned that there are also APIs play a crucial role in ensuring this seamless integration. Well-designed APIs provide standardized interfaces that allow AI agents to interact with external systems, databases, or other agents, regardless of the underlying technologies.
Okay, thank you so much. Eduardo, next question to you from a SaaS perspective. Now it's interesting, how do AI agents address the needs of business moving away from traditional chatbots?
That's a good question. I think if we start with, people ask me this question quite often, and I usually reply with things that aren't going to change, right? So nobody wants to have a worse customer experience, right? So to most businesses,
True.
they want to have it even better, continually better customer experience. And as businesses grow, they want to be able to scale without just adding additional people and cost, right? So, and generally speaking, I'm really generalizing because AI can handle so many different use cases. Probably the most common thing I would say is around productivity, operational efficiency, and that ability really to really delight users from an end perspective, right? To lower headcount costs or to do more with the people that you have, right? So, there's a number of different areas there, but I think generally lower operational costs, improved customer satisfaction, those are some important things. I think most companies would want to do those things, right? And then there's
I believe,
specific
yes.
KPIs. Yeah, there's specific KPIs depending on the use case that you'll see there'll be an uptick, a significant uptick by using AI systems.
Wow, that sounds really great, like really
I think
amazing
I'll add
benefits.
one more thing to that, Tanya. I think it's important to realize when we talk about moving from traditional chatbots to AI agents, we're not talking about a small upgrade. We're talking really about a huge transformation. You can transform into away from those kind of static, simple workflows to far more autonomy, far much more scope, I would say, to keep those end users happy, whether it's B2B or B2C.
I need to say that something what you are saying sounds really fantastic, and it's really difficult to believe how it can happen. Especially, it also sounds a little bit easy. Like today we have this, and tomorrow there is a new life with new
Well,
forms and
it's
opportunities.
it's already
And scary,
happening. If you,
actually. It's
it's interesting if you think how much it's changed in just the last 2 years, roughly since ChatGPT was
that's
around.
true.
And now you just take things for granted. You use it in your daily tasks all the time, whether it's
Yeah.
ChatGPT or Google Gemini or Claude or whichever system that you want to use.
Yeah, everything is changing. Okay, let's move to another question. Stas, how do multimodal capabilities influence the design and integration of AI system within existing business architectures?
Oh, the short answer, significantly. So
Okay.
first, I should remind you that the multimodal AI was one of the trends in the beginning of 2024, and it's still in the trends for 2025, and I believe it will be in trends for the next years. It will be just improving and improving. Multimodal capabilities really significantly influence the design and the way of how we integrate AI systems, because it's requiring architectures that can process and interpret multiple data streams such as text, images, audio, and video, and everything is simultaneously and in real time. This means that system must handle different types of inputs and outputs, and have strong data pipelines which handle this, process this, and use models that combine information from these sources to produce useful insights. And in business architectures, this requires some centralized data orchestration layer that integrates and synchronizes inputs from different interfaces. It could be anything, yeah. And additionally, the system also needs scalable processing engines to manage the heavy computational demands of this real-time processing. And a crucial aspect of the design is to ensure seamless integration between the AI model and those APIs, actually tools which are used by it for effective communication across different domains. I've already mentioned that before. And this is actually a challenge. And let me give you an example. In e-commerce, let's imagine a multimodal AI agent might allow a customer to upload a photo, of course, within his smartphone. So he goes and makes a photo, and this is a photo of some product he or she wants to buy. The AI uses image recognition, and it's identify the product matching in the database with the images. Then it presents the results to the user with some description and maybe user reviews. And at the same time, the user uses audio in order to say, do you have this in blue? So he made a photo, then he just made an audio. He doesn't click any button, he doesn't say he doesn't type anything. He just made an image and tell something. And then the model again should react, make a plan, and handle this request using the tools and APIs, the inventory database, check the item in stock, and check the product details. So what I mean, the architecture should be able to support consistency of data, concurrency, and availability, because everything is simultaneously, and those must be seamlessly integrated with the agent. And all these things has an impact on the final architecture. So when I said significantly, yeah, it's really true.
Yeah, now we understand why, actually. Thank you for such a detailed answer. Good. Eduardo, what are the key selling points? And I believe you mentioned some of them already, but I'm still interested to discuss those selling points when promoting collaborative AI agents to clients in industries like finance or customer support.
Sure. I mean, like I said, it's really, you're talking about unprecedented levels of efficiency improvements. Okay, so the newer versions of agents can process multiple complex tasks simultaneously, right? You can reduce processing times from days to minutes. In customer support, you could have pretty much instant resolutions instead of having to do handoffs and manual checks and sorry, we need to get back to you or waiting until somebody else is available. So operational expenses here, there can be some real cost savings. And of course, you have the ability for them to learn and to improve, right? These are not scripted flows. These things can self-improve by learning mechanisms. They're more accurate than humans, actually. And when you start talking about collaborative systems, then really you're talking about scale and performance that you just can't achieve through the use of traditional chatbots. It's almost an unfair comparison, really. Traditional chatbots are so siloed and narrow in their scope. When we start talking about agentic chatbots and agents, really you have a lot more opportunity there. So it's the way that we work when we're speaking to customers. We try and understand not only what are the challenges, but what are the opportunities. It's not just about fixing something, really. Usually it's more about extracting more value and delivering that value to either the company or to its customers.
Yeah, while I was listening to you, I was thinking how productive the things can be. I mean, it looks like the productivity can increase like 100%, 200%, like a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, I see Stas saying stop, don't try to imagine this ideal world. Yeah, but I understand. But still, for me, it looks fantastic. Good. Let's move on. And by the way, Stas, I have a question to you. Can you elaborate the technical challenges of integrating AI agents with real team data and decision-making processes? A little bit more to what Eduardo just mentioned from the technical side.
Actually, I agree with that. It's again, it's a breakthrough, yeah. And but I'm happy to answer exactly this question because you see, if we have challenges, it means that we still have a job, so AI still cannot substitute. Well,
Still,
yeah. So, integrating AI agents with real-time data and having this decision-making process presents several technical challenges among all other. And my favorite is, I would say, latency, because real-time systems requires extremely low response times, and which means the architecture must minimize delays in the data processing and the decision execution. Yeah, it's a big challenge. It's always, not only for AI agents, for any system, it's a challenge. Another one, pretty common for anything else is scalability. As AI agents must handle fluctuating data loads without performance degradation. For instance, e-commerce. During peak sales events like Black Friday or Cyber Monday, the system must scale dynamically to process vast amounts of real-time user purchases or other interactions, whatever, inventory updates, prices changes, and all this simultaneously. It's a big challenge because you need to do it like this in a second. Another challenge is handling noisy data, and it's very critical. Real-time environments often involve incomplete, inconsistent, or erroneous data streams, which can impact the AI agent's decision making. It's not LLM anymore, it's AI agent. And so we need to think about data pre-processing, some filtering, validation mechanism, ensuring that the system can clean and prioritize relevant information. And the most funny, integrating AI agent into real-time workflows requires coordination with your legacy systems, which may not natively support high-speed data exchanges or asynchronous processing. And architects must design middleware or API gateways or something more sophisticated to bridge the gaps. Yeah, so, and finally, we need to ensure that AI agent remains both responsive and intelligent. Yes, we can make it very responsive. It will be a chatbot with fast response, or it could be very slow, but very smart. Nobody cares about smart but very slow AI agent. So it's a constant trade-off for that architects, and we must keep it in mind.
Yeah, it looks really challengeable.
Indeed.
Nice. Thank you. So we briefly discussed some of these benefits, and Eduardo, I believe that there are some objections that you encounter when presenting advanced AI systems to potential clients, and how do you address them? And what are these objections?
Well, they're usually more questions than objections, right? It's quite a new topic, so they tend to be trying to understand how do they get from where we are now to this point in the future, right? And it usually starts with trying to understand more about the customer's business. So whether it's in the online gambling industry, which is the vertical that I look after, or whether it's the travel or aviation industry or life sciences, they tend to have their own set of challenges and their own kind of ecosystem, let's call it like that. So usually the first thing we try to do is understand, as Stas says, what does their landscape look like, right? How does that business run? What are the areas where we can unlock value by using an AI solution or AI agent? So it normally starts with that process because that's important, right? It's not something you don't open a box and plug it in, right? It needs careful consideration. We need to think about also what is the rollout plan? How do we implement this? And what sort of steps and checks do we have as we go through the project and as it's being implemented and tested? So all of those things that we do anyway as part of our usual software development life cycle and our normal best practice, those things don't go away, right? We still need to do all those things that we as a company have been doing for many years. It's more about making sure that we find a solution that fits the customer's needs the best. And sometimes that means educating them and telling them what it can do. That's actually quite common, right? Because these are quite new. They may not understand what multimodal capabilities are. But when we give them an example, let's give you something a little bit practical. Imagine that you have a coffee machine. You make expensive coffee machines, and right now you have a simple chatbot where someone can go in there. They'll say, "There's an issue with my coffee machine." It'll open a ticket, and then hopefully some customer support agent will then send you an email, and then you might start chatting by email, and it could take you days, right?
Or forever.
Or forever.
Yeah.
Now fast forward to a multimodal where I take a picture of my coffee machine with water dripping out. I write some text and I describe that process and to the chat agent, the AI agent, which then suggests me some steps. Have I looked at doing this first? Have you done that? Have you, goes backwards and forwards and asks me a bunch of questions. I might even solve my issue. It might say, yeah, you've turned the coffee machine on and you still have the steam tap open. Okay, right. So that's something that a traditional chatbot, there's no way they can do that. So quite often, the reason I'm saying this, we need to educate our customers to show what is possible. And then you can see the light bulbs going off, going, oh, wow, that's interesting. I didn't realize we can do that. I haven't talked about video yet, but video is another thing. Or IoT devices, connecting agents to IoT devices can open a whole new other world of opportunity. So it's also about educating, discussing the opportunities, and then thinking what's important to the business.
Education and knowing your client, important elephants in any business. Okay, thank you so much for this. Moving forward, Stas, one more question to you. How do benchmarks like Visual Agent Bench inform the design and development of multimodal agents in practical applications?
Yeah, before I answer this question, I quickly come back to the challenges, and these are actually example from Eduardo. I understood that the trade-off, the challenge for architects to avoid making the AI agent, which will tell you instead of how to fix your coffee machine, which will not tell you, okay, don't drink coffee, because they could be too smart. Well, this is also a challenge. And how to handle such challenges and how to benchmark the models. Yeah, this is your question. And I will start from the beginning. Recently, in August 2024, a visual agent bench, really cool and interesting tool set, was made by researchers from several universities, Beijing, Guangzhou, and Ohio. And the main purpose of that visual agent bench is to evaluate how well multimodal agents can process and combine different types of data like text, images, videos. And actually, the goal is to evaluate how these models perform complex tasks. Actually, these tools had helped identify strengths and weaknesses in these agents, guiding developers of the models and the AI agent system to improve their systems for real-world applications. And the main metric used is the success rate. Okay, but inside there are much more metrics. So after a benchmarking, the tested model receives a success rate score. By the way, the biggest, the top performer right now is OpenAI proprietary model GPT-4o Omni, which means universal, which can handle any type of information, video, audio, whatever. And the highest score for it is 36.2%. That's why I was a bit smiling. Well, we have a place to improve the models and the AI agents. So very quickly, roughly, briefly, how is it executed? So this visual agent bench works by running the AI agents through a series of tests or scenarios which mimic real-life challenges. And then it's gather all the metrics like accuracy, response time, ability to reason the workflow, and etc. And then we have that score. There are three main categories of tasks like embedded agents, graphical user interface engines, and even visual design agents. And then they compare everything. So in short, this tool set, Visual Agent Bench, is like a stress test for AI agent, helping to ensure they can perform effectively in the real world. And I would anticipate that the score of 50% will be easily reached in 2025. And this should be a trend to reach the bigger scores for different proprietary and open source models. We'll see very soon.
Wow. Looking forward to it. By the way, talking about the future, guys, you described what we have right now, where we are, and what are the capabilities of the AI agents. But let's talk about the future. How do you see the next wave of innovation in AI agents, capabilities, what they're going to be in the next, let's say, 3 years? This question to both of you. So just, Eduardo, let's start with you.
Well, I think what we're going to see is it's going to be more widely used is the main thing. There's a Gartner report that came out that said by 2028, 33% of enterprises will be using some form of AI agent. Right? That's a pretty large percentage.
Wow.
Yeah, I think we're going to see them. Customer support and product information are the ones. There's going to be an awful lot there. They're quite popular. As I say, they're a significant upgrade over the more traditional chatbots that already operate in those areas. But a lot of it is going to be driven by the capabilities of the LLMs and the various tools that they can connect with. We're seeing, broadly speaking, we're seeing more memory, larger context windows. Compute power is also improving. That's better hardware, better algorithms, larger clusters. So all of these things happening together, I think we'll see an increase in the prevalence of them, so much so that it'll be quite common. It'll almost be unusual to find somebody who isn't using one, right? So
Wow.
yeah,
I believe that's true.
yeah. In the same way that now you can't imagine not using ChatGPT during your day. Right.
True. My
If
best
I talk
friend.
to my kids about Google, they try to imagine, well, how was life without Google, right? It'll just become part of it. And I would go so far as to say that we probably won't even use the term agent in the future, because an agent is AI and AI is agents. It'll all be part of it. By definition, the way that it works in the future will be agentic, in my view.
In mind that. Thank you so much for sharing this. Stas, what are your thoughts on it?
So, I will talk about not what, but how. So, is this increased reliance on autonomous AI agents? Yeah, what Eduardo said. The key trust and governance issues arise, primarily due to concerns about decision-making, transparency, and data privacy, because decision-making is on the AI agent shoulders, no more human in this process. And from an architecture perspective, these issues stem from the complexity of AI systems, where decisions are often made without clear explanations, making it difficult to trace how or why an agent acted.
It's an interesting point, actually. So the governance issue is something that needs to.
And from actually also, I would say that the next wave of innovation in AI agents will focus on creating more scalable and flexible frameworks that enable agents to adapt and learn from diverse data sources in real time, so that we can ensure that the tech guys, they don't need to reinvent the wheel. They will just use the framework. We have already a lot of frameworks, but it's still on the basement. We have things to go further, and I would say we will see advancements in distributed systems that enhance agents' contextual awareness, enabling them to process complex queries with deeper insights and improve decision-making capabilities. Yeah, so we'll see.
Yeah, it looks like AI agents are going to be a big part of our life in any area. Like anything we are going to touch or be a part of or work with, everywhere we will find some AI agent that can help us with this. Quite
Yeah.
interesting, quite scary, but I'm curious about it, honestly. And thank you guys for sharing this information with all of us. Yes, Tas,
Yeah,
please.
one more thing from me about the future, how I see it. We talked about this previously and internally, and so right now, if you remember the movie Alien with Sigourney Weaver, there was. A system on that starship called Mother, and the crew was talking with that system using some console, typing something, and using their voice. And actually, this is an example of chatbot. Yeah, it was in
Mm,
1970s. That's how they see the AI. And now
imagined.
yeah, and now we
Yeah.
have the movie Interstellar, which is quite fresh with Matthew McConaughey.
Mm-hmm.
There was a super smart, it's not an AI agent, but it's a robot,
Robot.
TARS. And
Yeah.
there was a pretty funny dialogue between Cooper, Matthew McConaughey, and the TARS. And he was asking, what is the degree of your sense of humor? And the TARS said 90%. Okay, decrease it to 60. Okay, I'm decreasing it to 55 because he was very smart. So this is the future, and this is the nearest future. This is not only sci-fi, not anymore. Because
Yeah, it's
this
an interesting
robot,
point. There's quite a few people that comment on this technology that say there was an interview. I can't remember the chap's name, but he was a science fiction writer, and he said it's getting really difficult to write science fiction because everything is already possible.
yeah,
Yeah,
Right?
that's true, actually.
Yeah.
yeah,
We
one
used to
of
always
the
Interesting
say, just look at
time.
Star. We used to say, look at Star Trek if you want to predict what's coming. Well, all of that stuff, almost all of it, we can already do, right?
yeah, one of the authors
Yeah.
about the AI, Charles Stross, and his books. So everything in his books already here. So 20 years, and we have all that was in his books.
Yeah, developing pretty fast
Pretty,
every day.
And
Yeah.
and it's
I see that we do
accelerating.
have a question, I think, from the audience here.
Yes, yes. This is the next part. So I'm done with my questions. So we still have some time. So let's move to the questions from our audience. Thank you so much, guys, for posting your questions. If you do have some, please post them and we will be happy to answer them. So, first question. I think the part about pricing and efficiency for business will come later regarding the AI agents. Mean the cost and the effort associated with this change to AI agenda. The question was from AS, I believe. Yeah. And I believe this the comment was so when you were Eduardo talking about
Yeah,
the
I think
benefits. Yeah.
that's right. I mean, a lot of these systems are so new. There is no track history. There's no track record. So we can sit with customers. We can look at workflows that exist. We can look at the operational costs involved with a particular use case or scenario, and then we can predict what we think the what KPIs will be affected and what the uptick will be. But until you actually launch it and run it, of course, those are projections, right? There isn't, because
Mhm.
this is so new, there isn't, you can't say, well, this system that was deployed 5 years ago showed an increase in KPI X, Y, or Z, right? They're quite new. So that is a challenge, I would say. So trying to understand a true ROI is quite difficult at the moment. It's prediction, of course. Now, it's mitigated, of course, by the way that you engage and work with a customer. So, what we try to do in general, I would say, is get a system, a pilot up and running quickly so that we can learn and see how it works in a live environment. And then you tweak and improve it quickly, right? So those basic principles in the way that we would roll out software, they don't change. In fact, they're really important. Okay. And I think we still have lots of questions. I think we have a question from somebody else, but it's kind of segues nicely into this. Is one of the things that we need to do and to understand is what are the boundaries of the AI system that we're working with, right? Because we have to deal with compliance, there's data security issues. So all of these points are things that we would need to go through when we start talking to a customer about a particular project, right? So there may be costs associated with compliance areas that we need to take into account, a whole bunch of different things, really. There's so many different use cases and areas, but the costs, it's not a kind of copy and paste solution, let me put it like that.
Okay, thank you so much. Seth, would you like to add something?
Well, I just would add that when we talk about a cost, we need to understand that the idea of AI agents and their ability to make decisions and actually these workflows on the fly, which are created on the fly, it gives us ability to do whatever we want. And again, an example from e-commerce. Probably you heard that when you buy a product, you can make a refund, even return and refund, or exchange. And just imagine that you don't call the operator, you don't write an email, you don't even try to chat with anybody. You just say, okay, I want to change this actually product, I don't know, whatever. I need a blue one. Yeah, as I proposed the example previously. Yeah, I make an image and I say I want a blue one. And imagine that, okay, it says, okay, we can make a return with refund. Or it can say, oh, I just checked. We have almost the same blue and we have your size. Just imagine. So for a person, a customer support person, it requires time. It requires to go to check it, and sometimes
a lot of effort.
Yeah, and sometimes AI agent would be more efficient than a real person. How come? Yeah, it's not smarter. It's how
Faster.
we think. Yeah, we are not that precise and accurate as machines. So machines can do this on the fly dynamically, whatever. And just imagine for business, whatever cost is, we can use these AI agents to do any processes. We don't need to substitute people. We will just be more efficient. That's all.
Thank you so much. I hope so, that this is the future. Let's move on to another question. Can you show how it works, AI agent? Is it any possibility we can show right now how it works?
We can explain how it works, actually.
Can we show? Because we've been explaining it actually for a while.
No, actually, I'm not really prepared for that. Eduardo, maybe you, but one example of...
Yeah, this is unfortunately not something we prepared
not
for this
that
event,
format,
guys.
right?
Yes.
But we can prepare a demo. It's, by the way, a very good question. Definitely, we can prepare a demo. But if you want to think about AI agent, well, GPT-4o is something like an AI agent. Actually, it is AI agent.
Yeah, that's true.
Multimodal, model. And what is the difference between GPT and the AI agent? When we talk with GPT, it's multimodal model, and it can receive any type of information, and it returns any type of information back. When we talk about AI agent, we integrated, that was I was explaining, the seamless integration with the modular components. It could be API of your system. It could be a database or databases. It could be a messaging system. And we give all these tools to the agent. We don't control it anymore. We don't say, hey, here is a script. If you receive this pattern, React, go to database and return this description of the product. Not anymore. That was in the past. Chatbots, compound systems, RAG, retrieval augmented generation. It's in the past. AI agents make the plan. So when it receives a query, it doesn't respond. It creates a plan, validate it, observe it, and then act, react, reason the plan, and then make the actions. It calls the API himself or itself. Yeah, it knows that in that database we have that model about the products. We don't need to put any queries, any scenarios, nothing. It just knows that there are products and it makes a decision. I go to database, fetch the data and see what is the size of that product which I recognized in the image sent me by a smartphone. So if you want an example, here is an example. GPT is just a very smart multimodal model, which can give you, well, it has internally AI agent properties and capabilities, but it's not the real AI agent we are talking about. The real AI agents can use many other things, and you integrate your system with the model, and model do the stuff for you.
Perfect. Thank you, Stan, so much for explaining. I believe we'll think about some demo to show really how the AI agents work. We just unfortunately weren't prepared for this session. We just wanted to have another session regarding this topic. Okay, moving forward, so we have 3 more questions, I believe, from our audience, and the next one is, are you noticing a shift in how corporate buyers and governments approach data sovereignty, particularly with the rise of AI agents handling sensitive data? Eduardo, I believe you can give us some vision on it.
I would say it's not so much as a shift, because those things need to be done anyway, right? With your existing systems, so it's not so much a shift. It's more like, how do we approach it through the lens of AI, right? Because there may still be data breaches, there may still be unauthorized access, there may be a lack of transparency. There are compliance with regulations, whether it's in healthcare or in the online gambling industry, for example. So those things don't change. So what do we need to do? We need to still consider the same steps in securing the AI agents and to protect privacy. So whether that's really robust access control, using role-based permissions so that agent behavior can't be modified unless you have the level of authority to do so. Data encryption, probably Stas can talk a little bit more about the details, but data encryption and anonymization, those things, they would need to be done anyway, right? Having also secure development practices, that's another important thing. Data governance and monitoring, they're not new terms, but my point is, just because you're working with AI doesn't mean that you forget. You still have to do all those things, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So you still need to be mindful of compliance and regulations. And so when you're looking for a vendor, you have to make sure that they understand that and that they've experience in working in industries where compliance and regulation is the normal, right? That's a key thing, I would say.
Yeah, something changes, but something stays stable. That's actually really good that we still have some stable things. Good. Let's move on. Where do we find the best AI agents? Stas, I believe you briefly explained some of them, but maybe you can add some more information here.
Well, there are a lot of. First of all, you can go and yeah, previously it was Google it. You can GPT it, yeah, and it will bring you a lot of examples. I would add several like real life examples, which I know. I know a bit how they work. Like, the first one is a Corti. It's AI agent for emergency room call center assistants. So it's that assistance. And when a person calls 911, this system, first of all, it's scheduling the dispatcher. It checks the tone of voice, intent of the person. If there are maybe some interruptions on the line, it can better than human. It can understand what was in the message, and it can quickly identify, okay, something is going on with this person. So maybe there are a heart attack, and it can help in seconds the dispatcher with actually the actions. It alerting, it's making some advices, etc. So this is a real life example of the real AI agent. Well, from e-commerce, it's I guess Macy's on call, a store assistant, and it's uses audio like voice, visual inputs, actually those images, so it can guide the buyers, the shoppers through a store and answer questions, creating a seamless in-store experience. And it's not, well, it's kind of switching from old implementation to AI agents. Yeah.
Thank you so much. We have 2 more questions and 8 more minutes, so let's make it productive. One of the biggest concerns businesses have with AI agents adoption, security, and sensitive data handling. How can we secure it? How can we control and promise privacy to the customers? Eduardo, you covered this partially, but maybe still you have something to add.
Well, not a great deal, to be honest. I think I was kind of at the limit of my tech knowledge, but my point is you would use the same processes that you would use for customer data that you have in place already. So whether that's encryption, role and access controls, all of those things that you would use, you would need to make sure it's still being done if you started to implement an AI system that touched customer data. So yeah, normally when you're working with large enterprises and you're going through the initial stages of engagement, you would identify it's a very common question. Does your software touch customer data? Yes or no? If yes, okay, then you need to look at how and what do we do to protect it. So I think it's more a question of doing the things that you currently do and making sure that you don't skip those things when you're working with an AI system.
Because they are more important right now, paying more attention probably even to those things.
I think it's because it's new. Everyone wants to start using it quickly. You need to make sure you do your due diligence while you use that process. Right, it's important.
Yeah, step by step. Okay. Last Stas, sorry, you would like to add?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
just
sure,
want to
please.
add, I completely agree with Eduardo that you do what you did before. Nothing changed. It's just another solution. Yeah, but at the same time, so we know about the need of authentication, sign up and log in. Yeah, so this is a protection. So the same for AI agents. You still need to ensure in your architecture that the protection is included. And of course, you see the AI agents, they are autonomous. We said this many times. It means this AI agent can go and check the information about the purchases of some person. So first of all, we need to anticipate this in our architecture and try to not reveal this private data to the model. And the second very important thing is we always are talking about everywhere about the quality. So quality is crucial. And when we have quality, we need to test this quality. And for AI and AI agents as well, there are already prepared frameworks, tools, which can measure the compliance, data privacy, actually how the agent works, etc. So you still need to include into your architecture the automated manual testing. Nothing changed.
Sure. Thank you so much for adding this. Our last question, guys. How close of reality is AI agents being used in business? Have AI come to the point where it's totally autonomous, where it can reason?
Oh, there's a couple of questions in there. And well, the short answer
That's
is
true.
they're already being used is one thing. So you tend to find some of the larger SaaS providers or software providers out there, larger enterprises are already using them for different use cases. Some of them are using them in kind of, let's talk at them like kind of Copilot style, right? Using Microsoft Copilot, that's already in use. Larger CRM solutions providers are already integrating agents into their existing platforms. So we're already seeing that. It's evolving pretty quickly, right? I think general consensus is they don't yet have the reasoning capabilities of humans, not yet, but it's evolving real fast. How long will that take? Good question. It's really moving quickly, and so it's quite hard to predict. But I suppose you can look at what's happened in the last sort of 2 years. It's been rapid, and I think that pace will, if not accelerate. We're seeing more and more competition as well. There's more people out there. There's more large language models being used. More people connecting with tools, and this is a good thing, right? All that diversity and kind of stimulates all of the innovation that we're seeing. Are we there at a point where it can work fully autonomously? No, we're not. They still need human intervention and some oversight and governance. Will we get there? I'm pretty sure we will. Yeah, I think it's just a matter of time.
Okay. Question one. Stas, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I would just add some that from AI model, AI agent perspective, it's fully autonomous. Just give him ability to push the button and, you will see a Skynet.
That
So,
is a scary thing.
No, it's not scary.
That's
but
true. It's something that we need to face. That's true. Yeah.
Just before we close, there was somebody, I can't remember his name. I'll dig it up and see if I can find it perhaps later and we can follow up with anybody. But there's somebody asked me about, is there a limit to the amount of data that we have to train the LLMs? And there is actually. We have one internet at the moment. So yeah, there is a finite limit, and there's some really interesting talk into using synthetic data and models to help us continue to grow. So the point is, whatever challenge and blockers we have right now, those will be overcome, right? I'm pretty sure that whatever we think is not possible right now, within a very short space of time, it will become the new normal.
Yeah. That's happening right now. Guys, we have one more question. We have one more question, if you don't mind. That's going to be the last one. Guys, we are sorry, but we are running out of time. So the last question is, will jobs like UI, UX design, software development, etc., decrease due to AI agents doing majority of the process work? What do you think? What are your thoughts on it?
The answer is very simple. So we will evolve together with AI. This is the first thing, the short answer. And I just want to remind you that near 100 years ago, if we need to build something, we used our hands and maybe some primitive machines. Now we have everything automated, but we still have builders, engineers, architects. Yes, AI will make us more efficient. We will need it will take these routine things on it, and maybe not only routine, but still we will evolve and we will use our time more efficiently. Why not working 4 hours per day?
Oh, why not?
For the same price.
The future is going to be really interesting. Ed, what are your thoughts on it? Do you think AI is going to replace it or not?
In some areas, absolutely, yes, for sure. But I think there will also be, I can imagine that certain things that we don't do as much of now will become more popular in the future, right? So if we start, we work remotely a lot. We might be talking more to AI systems and chatbots, whether it's on our mobile phone, or whether it's on a tablet or a desktop. And just to cast your mind back, we've been talking to Siri since 2010 when it came out on the Apple 4S. So it's not new, really. But I think there will be an appetite for more traditional things as well, offline things, storytelling, theatre, going to see plays. I can imagine that those things will appeal. Because we are humans and we love that kind of human contact. So yes, things will become very different in the way that we work, probably a lot more efficient, I would say. UX designers, the way that they work now, think about they're using Figma right now. If you showed that to me many, many years ago when I was using CorelDRAW, they can do things in an hour with Figma that would have taken me days to do. Right. So I think we'll just be able to do a lot more and spend our time being creative as well. I mean, human creativity is precious, isn't it?
Yeah, that's true. What I truly believe that AI may replace someone who is not using AI and who is not interested and curious about AI. Make AI your friend and you are going to be safe. This is something what I truly believe.
Yeah.
And you actually believe our session today also proved it. Yes. So guys, thank you so much for such interesting talk. And for me personally, I got a lot of information, something to think about, and definitely extended my picture and understanding of all of this AI agents. So thank you once again. Today, we've got viewers from Ukraine, Macedonia, Poland, Dubai, and Nigeria. So just imagine how many people are here with us. Thank you so much, guys, for watching us, listening, and for all of your questions. We will think about another sessions with the demo, but for now, we are good. Thank you,
Take care,
and
everybody.
bye-bye.
Thank you, Tanya.
Have a
Cheers,
good
guys.
evening.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.